working on another project. And I'm going to make this really, really fast. I need a tablecloth. You guys, we have so much fabric and we love our fabric, but we won't use our fabric. So here is just another way to get a tablecloth fast and cute and pretty using some of our fabric. I have done some very quick math. My table is, in order to cover it and get the drop that I want, I really need 83 one way and 81 the other. So I decided to split the difference. If it's just barely touching the ground, I'm okay with it. I will live. But I want some nice big Mac style checkerboard. So I have 4 yards of fabric here. I have it doubled up. And I'm just going to cut some really big squares. I've done some really fast, easy math, nothing special. But I do have 2 yards of this fabric, and I'm going to cut each strip at 10 and 3/4, so almost 11 inches. And I need 8 of those. So I'm hoping that I can get 4 out of this. So I need to do a really fast, really quick, really cute tablecloth. And the width of my table is, I want to say 81 on one side and like 83.5 on the other side. So I just went ahead and took the difference. We're going to go for an 82-inch tablecloth with these 2 colors. I want nice big squares. I just kind of want it to give off color, but not a lot, not too much happening. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to, of course, do some fun little cute tricky things with it in a minute, but the first part is going to be really easy. We are just going to make some really big stripes, big stripes. So I want these to finish at 10 1/4 in order to kind of get the dimensions that I'm looking for. So I'm going to cut these at 10 3/4, all of them. 10 3/4. And I'm going to do that all the way until I get 8 of these strips in both colors. So we need 8 of these big strips in both colors. 10.75, 10 3/4. That's what we're cutting these. So now we have 8 10 3/4 strips in blue and in pink. And now we're going to make it really super easy, and we're going to throw these suckers together and just sew down the side. And that will be that. Just super duper simple. So because we might need to bite into the selvage, depending upon how much I can get from each strip, I am lining the selvages up the best that I can. They are right up to the tip here. So just line them up. And now we're going to just sew down the side. And because it's a solid, it doesn't matter which side, we're good. Now that we have sewn this together, look, there's the pink. We're going to put the blue side facing up just because we are going to press to the dark side, because it really doesn't matter. And I'm going to give this an iron. I'm going to try to get these wrinkles out a little better. But be careful, because this is a solid. And so if you start using too much quilting spray and that kind of thing, you might mess around and get some spots that don't want to come out. So I'm going to just use water until I get it, you know, steamed out good, because I've got some serious wrinkles in here. And then once I get these out, then you can go in and start working your quilting magic. But be careful. I'm not saying that it stains, but I have cooked it a little too fast on some occasions. And so I really like using that kind of stuff on prints. It still works. I do it all the time, but you just have to kind of know your products and what will happen and how fast you're going. Because if you use it properly, you know, and spray it and let it get just about dry, you'll be fine. But of course, I'm moving very quickly, and you see I have water spots all over here, and I would not want to scorch or mess up some fabric. So you just got to be careful. And there we go. So I'm going to iron it this way, and then we're going to open it and press everything toward the blue. Everything toward the blue. Just flip it, and now I'm going to pull it and make sure that blue, make sure this is open all the way. Boy, this is pretty. And pink is not my favorite color, guys, and this project is full of pink. Full of pink, and I love this pink, the pink Queen of Hearts. I'm loving her, but it is a lot of pink. All right, so we've got that, and I'm going to go on ahead and just iron that a little bit better, and then we'll cut this again. So now that we've got this kind of smoothed out a little bit, we are going to simply, again, this is a super simple tablecloth. We are going to freshen up this edge right here because they didn't come out exactly the same, but I think we're fine. We are going to freshen you up. I really could have done a little bit more on that, but I know that that will get caught in the seam allowance, so I'll be okay. And now I'm going to take these two and move this on down. And we are going to cut on the 10 3/4 again. Ten 3/4. That feels right. That's one, and we're going to just keep cutting all the way down until we don't have any more, until we can't do 10 3/4 anymore. We're just making a big Maccouture style tablecloth because you know your girl loves a 4-patch. She loves a 4-patch, she loves a 9-patch. I mean, like, when I see it in a store, I don't really care what it is. It's just like, yeah, I want it. I want to buy it. Is it black and white stripes or is it a checkerboard? I want it. If it's a quilt, I want it. All things check, all things stripes. All right, I'm hoping I can do this 2 more times and then we will be back for the next step. So we have just enough to properly get rid of the selvages and we'll be fine. So this is 10 3/4, 10 3/4, and we've got enough to get 4, and that's what we wanted to do. And now we know. Now, the first row, we're going to do 8 across and 8 down. So we can start with the blue or the pink. It absolutely does not matter. But I will just take these and now sew them right sides together. So that came out just perfect. So now we have attached them all and we have our first row and we need 8 rows. but we've got our first one, and that was super fast. The cool thing about checkerboard stuff is that we're going to want our seams to nest, of course, but as long as you press everything toward the blue, it's going to be towards the blue this way, and then it'll be towards the blue on the second row. They'll nest, and so you don't even have to think about it. I'm very pleased with how this is coming out. It looks just like I wanted to, which is a big, easy, super duper easy tablecloth. So now we've got all these big stripes sewn together, and what I want you to be sure to do is lay out each strip before you start sewing the two together to make sure that you're getting every other. If you just start sewing two together, you will quickly find out that they might not match up with the other two. And of course, we did a little seam ripping there. I forget, a 4-patch does not necessarily mean that it's just going to work. The math is going to work itself out. So all you have to do to fix that is make your strips and then lay them out pink, blue, and you'll be fine. You will be fine. So this is the last one. And this is actually quite big. I am just going to pin these corners and then just sew it down, and then we'll have our tablecloth. I just make sure that everything is nesting. You know I like a nesting seam. And we'll pop a pin in. I'm just going to feel to make sure that's nesting, and it is. And I pin at the end too. And that will be that. Then we'll just sew. After I finished my tablecloth, which is right there, I decided that I wanted some hidden gems that are just in a few special places for people to find as they are sitting around eating. They're kind of hidden. This one I'm doing pink on pink, blue on blue, and because this has just a little splash of water, I thought I would go on ahead and add the detail, but this will actually be under the quilting, so we'll see if anybody actually spots them. So for this, I went through and I just marked a couple of places where I want to add a little accent, and I just did that with my pins. And so now I'm going to go ahead and hoop it, and then we'll put some fun embroidery surprises around on this very plain but very striking tablecloth. So for this, I'm using some tearaway stabilizer and a topper. And I'm really digging the results with the basting stitch around it. Embroidery is so entertaining. I am very entertained. So, for my tablecloth, let's talk about some things. I wanted it to still be loose and have movement and drape to it. So I had my quilter quilt this. Now, my quilter right now is running a special. This is not the quilter that I was using before. This is a brand new quilter. She's just starting out her business. She ran a special. She's currently still running that special. 20 bucks for a queen size quilt. I think it's 22 bucks. Her name is Queenie. If I were you, I'd check her out, because when are you ever going to be able to get something long armed for $20? I don't know. I've sent her a lot of people, and I'm trying to send you there too. So if you have a quilt that's sitting around in your back room and you want to get it quilted and you can't afford to spend, you know, a couple $100s on it, no problem. She's got you covered right now. And she's going to be extending this through July. So if I were you, I'd get on it. Also, the innards of this, super duper thin. It's just some cheapy flannel from Joann's, which is exactly what I wanted. You can put batting inside this, but I really wanted it to be as thin as possible. And she chose a really cool design. I can't even explain what this is exactly. It looks like it's a heart in some ways. It looks like it's a crown in others. It just goes perfectly. And don't forget that throughout this are my hidden gems that have been embroidered in here, which I just think it's the coolest thing if you're sitting at this tablecloth and you find a hidden gem like this. I mean, that is just the absolute icing on the cake. I did this with embroidery. I used my Madeira embroidery thread to do this. I just so happen to have the color that matches beautifully. And these images I got from OESD from the Tula Pink Curiouser and Curiouser collection. We will continue to see those embroidery designs pop up in other aspects of this project. Look, here's another one. There's another key. I'm trying to find another one for you, something interesting. Now, to finish this off, I'm going to do a very thin binding. I'm going to do a 2-inch binding the same way that you would do a quilt binding. I'm going to cut some strips and sew them on. Oh, here's a good one. So I said that they're hidden, and the actual embroidery design, some of them have 2 colors, some of them had 3, and I thought, well, heck, let's just go on ahead and do 2 colors. So this one here you can clearly see, although there are some that are hidden, like this one again is all blue, so you can't see that one. Here's one, this is pink and the face of the clock is blue. And it actually went on before the quilting. So I wanted to be sure to come back and tell you guys all that. Again, I'm just going to bind it with a super thin 2-inch binding. Nothing special. I'm going to bind it the same way I would a quilt. And that is going to be my tablecloth. Oh, I'm loving this. And this is all part of that super ridiculous project that you guys will find out more about very, very soon. All right, guys, if you are looking for a way to just cut into your stash, to showcase your fabric, to love on your fabric, to give your home some more of your taste, I suggest you guys look into making yourselves a tablecloth. This was super duper duper easy. It could not have been any more fun or fast. I love it. I love the idea of having a tablecloth that's Tula Pink. And yes, technically this one could be considered reversible. I've definitely got that backing fabric on the back. And the backing fabric is sateen. And I don't care. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. This is so thin. I'm loving how thin this is. Again, I used Joann's very inexpensive flannel to have it quilted with. All right, guys, I'm going to bind this up and I will catch you guys on the next one. So to do the binding, I cut 2-inch strips, and I've got one strip laying that way, and I'm going to put another one going across it this way. Very simple. And because it's 2 inches, even though I don't have a sewing table on my machine, I'm just going to turn it to the right there. And we're just going to sew from end to end, but you can see that I can see my red tape right here. So I'm just going to drop that needle, drop that presser foot, adjust it, and sew. And we're just going to keep that intersection lined up with that red line. And that's that. Now that we have our 9 strips cut, we are just going to quickly go through, and we're not going to do this neat at all. I'm just going to cut up and over. So I'm going to cut up this way, and then I'm going to cut over, leaving about 1/4 of an inch that way, and then clip off the dog ear and that thread right there. And then I will press this open and I will have a long strip. Let's do it one more time, just for funsies. I'm going to clip this up and over. And take off the dog ear. And that's going to be that. I'm going to do this the whole strip. So now, just like always, nothing special. I'm just going to start anywhere. I'm not concerned. I am going to start on the back and pull to the front. Again, nothing extremely important or special about anything that I'm doing. I'm just going to work just the same way that I would a quilt. And we'll go all the way around and then pull over to the front and then stitch that down. And this will be done. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail. I keep trying all these different methods to bind the quilt. So we'll see which method I use today. I think I'm going to just use good old Susan Brown's technique. We'll see. I tell you, this Tula pink fabric has just got, it's just unraveling. Look at all that unraveling that's happening over there. Not a problem though. I glue this down with my Elmer's glue stick. So we've pressed it in half, we've sewn it, and I just fold it over and put a little glue down, and we just glue it. And then I'll go back over and stitch it. Nothing really interesting happening there. That's the back. This will be the front. Easy peasy.